So I always see the latest and greatest gear on my YouTube, and of course human nature is to want that. But what if I was to tell you that it's not actually about the gear that you have as a beginner photographer or videographer in this space, but more about how you're actually using that gear, and price range really does not matter. Let's talk about gear that I would recommend for beginners as photographers and videographers, and stuff that you actually need rather than what you're sold through the internet. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here or don't know who I am, my name is Jorva and I'm a creator that lives and works here in London, UK. So as the title suggests, we live in a consumer market, right? We live in a world where everyone wants to sell you the latest and greatest stuff and obviously make commission for themselves. But as beginners, it can be really overwhelming and can actually deter you away from getting started when you see all of these people pushing stuff down your throat in terms of gear to buy. So that's why I want to clear up some confusion for you guys who are watching and just give you the bare necessities of what you actually need rather than what you're sold. So let's start off with, of course, the main thing that everyone needs if you're getting started, and that's of course a camera. Now when it comes to choosing a camera, there's millions of options in the market, and again, that by itself can overwhelm a lot of people, not even talking about the rest of the gear in this video. The camera choice, people really put a lot of emphasis on what camera is correct to buy, but there is no right answer as to what camera is the best. It's more about what's suited towards your personal circumstances and how you're going to use a camera. Now you would have seen my previous video if you regularly watch this channel, but I always recommend the Sony a6400 with the kit lens as an absolute starter for beginners. The reason why I recommend this camera is because not only is the lens solid, it's not going to blow other more expensive cameras out of the water, but it's definitely a good option. And not only that, but they're readily available on the market and can be picked up used for less than £400. Now worst comes to worst, if you really don't want to spend £400, because I know that is out of a lot of people's budgets, the easiest thing you can do is simply pick up your phone. And you might be wondering, is phone quality even as good as cameras? And the answer in short is no, but also yes. If your sole purpose is to make YouTube videos or just have a lightweight setup when you're traveling, your phone is more than capable of handling high quality pictures that can be compared to cameras such as the a6400. I really would recommend this if you're an absolute beginner and don't want to spend money. And actually, if you look on YouTube now, a lot of people are filming their main channel videos with their iPhone. If you do have the extra budget, I would recommend the camera that I'm using to film this video, which is the Sony a7 IV. And the reason that I recommend this is because if you're someone who likes to be both a photographer and a videographer, I think this camera is the perfect middle ground in terms of best of both worlds. Now, of course, I exclusively use Sony, that's why I can speak on Sony. But if other people have any recommendations, or if you've seen something online with, for example, Canon or Nikon, then feel free to go with one of those cameras as well. But the main difference between the a6400 and the a7 IV, and the biggest reason for the price increase, is the actual sensor that's in the camera. Now I'll leave my video a6400 versus a7 IV in the top right for you to watch to go into more detail, but essentially the a7 IV has a better sensor. Now if you have picked up one of those cameras, then of course you will need a lens. If you got the a6400, then the kit lens is more than capable, and I really do recommend that. There's no need to spend excessive amounts of money. If you do have the budget though, I would recommend, if you're just getting one lens, then to get the 24-70 Sony lens or Sigma lens. And this is a great all-rounder because the lowest it shoots is at f2.8, which lets in a lot of light, whereas it still goes into the 70mm zoom range, which gives you a lot of versatility. If you do want to add another lens to that, then I would really recommend the 50mm prime lens. You can pick it out from Sigma, Sony. There's a lot of third-party brands, which is one of the benefits of the E-mount system for Sony cameras. But a prime lens, doesn't matter if it's 35, 16, 50mm, just get something which is a standalone lens, which can't zoom and has a fixed focal length. Now one of the most underrated pieces of gear that I always recommend to people is batteries, and you can never have enough. One of the most absolutely annoying things that happens on shoots, whether you're out doing professional stuff or if you're just walking around the city taking some photos on your camera, is running out of battery. And I can't stress enough how important it is to have extra batteries. With my a6400, I used to carry 6 batteries, Granted, 3 of them were aftermarket and not the official, so they used to run out quicker, but 6 batteries I would get through in one shoot without any doubt. Like 6 batteries I would need as a minimum. Now again, this is dependent on budget. If you can afford it, then I'll definitely recommend going with the original batteries, the Sony batteries. I had the RAV Power batteries for my A6400 and honestly I wouldn't recommend them. One of them actually expanded and then the second one expanded a few months later, so I was left with just 1 out of the original 3 that I bought. But definitely try to get the original if you can. A fast and reliable memory card is absolutely important. It's one of the most important things probably on this whole list, and the reason why I say that is because you don't want your data corrupting. You know, if you're someone who does professional shoots, for example like weddings, you can't recreate moments that you've taken photos of before. So you have to ensure that you have that photo backed up and you have a good reliable memory card where you know that it won't get corrupted. The one that I have is a SanDisk Extreme, I think it's called, but honestly any good brand, like a name brand, will be reliable. I would also recommend you back up your photos as you go. So if you're doing a wedding shoot, you're constantly backing up your photos on another device. But the first step to ensure that you're not in a situation where you have to explain that you've lost photos to a client is actually to get a memory card which is reliable. Now, stepping it up a notch, if you're someone who's got the spare money lying around and you want to actually invest in yourself and your camera, the next thing that I'm definitely going to recommend is a tripod. And honestly, you might think that you might be able to just get away with using your handheld, which 90% of times you can. But in that situation where you need a tripod, it's best to have something which is reliable and sturdy and well made. If you're someone who's a beginner who sort of struggles to get that still motion in your hands when you're taking photos, then a tripod is a game changer. I know when I go on holiday and I go on places where I know there's going to be a lot of landscape photography, I don't have to sit there anticipating the moment. I can just set up my tripod and then take the picture when I can. You definitely want something which is sturdy and is not just going to topple over, but if you're traveling a lot, then you would also want to take into consideration something which is lightweight. Now I'm going to put some recommendations down below. The one that I have, I honestly can't remember the name of, but it folds up really nicely into the side of my backpack and is perfect for travel. If you're someone who wants to go more into the videography route, then I would definitely recommend picking up a good quality microphone as well. The reason why I recommend this is because you may have seen like this fact online, I don't remember it word for word, but it's something like people would rather watch something with good audio than good camera quality. So if you have the best camera quality, you have a 4K camera and your audio is just not that good, then people are not going to watch your video because they can't hear what you're saying. The next thing that I'm going to recommend if you want to go up a notch and sort of maybe are a intermediate level photographer or videographer is definitely a good light. Now there are loads of affordable options on the market and a lot of expensive ones on the market. You don't need something studio quality right in the beginning, you know, even if you're intermediate level, one of those cheap lights on Amazon which are like £25-30 will do. And this is just to sort of boost your video quality. And you know, when you're shooting, for example, through a window light, the window light is constantly changing. The daylight is always changing as clouds go past, you know, the sun can get covered up. But with a studio light, you're able to get consistent lighting and avoid massive changes of color in your video. So that's all of the gear that I would recommend if you're a beginner or even if you're a bit intermediate. Now, of course, like I said earlier, the 4 things are the best to get you started. All you need is a camera, a lens if your camera already doesn't have a lens, a battery and a good quality memory card. And honestly, that's going to get you 90% of the way. And if you're a beginner, then that's going to get you 100% of the way there. I know that when you're in public and you pull out a camera, it may seem a little bit intimidating because everyone's taking photos on their phone. But honestly, just do what you enjoy. Don't buy all the gear that you're recommended by other YouTubers. And now I know altogether it may seem like quite a lot of gear, especially if you're just starting out. But like I said, you don't need everything. You can buy it slowly as you get better, as you perfect your craft. That being said, I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you did, then let me know in the comments. Hit the like button as well, subscribe, and with that, I'll see you all in my next video.